Welcome to the Consulting Success Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Zapersky. In this podcast, we'll dive deep into the world of elite consultants, where you'll learn the strategies, tactics, and mindset to grow a highly profitable and successful consulting business. Hey, it's Michael Zapersky, and today is a solo cast. You have me 100% natural, aside from my Italian coffee that I just made. But today I'm going to be sharing with you, and I'm really excited to take you through this. This is really my approach and our approach as a company to how we've been able to run a 7-figure consulting business while traveling the world for 5 months. So last year, I spent 5 months with my family, traveling the world, living in different places, from Spain and Portugal to Japan and Tel Aviv, Germany, like a whole bunch of really wonderful places. But even as I was traveling the world with my family, the business was still running. The business was still growing. And there was consistency and predictability to what was happening. That doesn't mean that it's always every single day a straight line, but things still were making progress. And that's really what it's all about. So what I wanted to do in today's solo cast is just simply to share with you how I was able to do that, and the approaches that you can take that I think could also benefit your business if you'd like to run a business like this, if you'd like to be able to generate a significant income, consultant that realizes their full and true potential, and yet still have plenty of freedom and time to travel or spend with loved ones or do really anything that you want. So I'm going to take a quick sip of my coffee here, so you don't wonder where I went, but I'm back. It's a nice, strong Italian coffee. So let's dive in. Here is the first thing that is really important if you want to be able to run a 7-figure consulting business while traveling the world. Number one is a simple business model. And here's what I mean by this. In our business, we have really just like 2 to 3 main offerings. Yes, of course, we have books that I've written, but we really have a coaching program for consultants who want to grow their business. And we also have an online course for consultants who are early stage. That is the core of our business model. And the consultants that we work with and that we support and that we've seen who have really created the greatest and highest level of success in their businesses have done this as well. In fact, this is one of the things that we really work with our clients on in the coaching programs is on productization of your consulting services. It's focusing on how do you take all of your different skills and experience and expertise and start to package it and position it and place value on it and create efficiencies and systems and processes that allow you to run it in a very smooth way. And I'm going to talk more about that in just a moment, but here's the key. A simple business model. You don't need more than 2 or 3 service offerings or product offerings to run a consulting business. And having just a few keeps it very, very simple. I've witnessed, I've observed too many consultants who try and have like 10 different service offerings or 15 different things. They're trying to do all things for all different kinds of people, and they end up really drowning in complexity. So if you want to be able to run a consulting business and have a lot of freedom, the first thing that's really important is a simple business model. I know a lot of people think that addition is the way to grow a business, but in fact, subtraction is much more powerful. I'll say that again. Subtraction is much more powerful than addition when it comes to building a business. You don't need to always add more and more and more in order to grow. In fact, when you strip away the inefficiencies, remove what isn't actually going to help you, then you are left with the essential. You're left with the most powerful. You're left with what is going to actually move things forward for you. And that's what you want. The second part of being able to run a consulting business and have a lot of freedom is team and support. In our case, we have Vincent, who manages our technology, Savo, who does content and marketing support, Sam does a lot of program and client management and enrollment. We also have success coaches who are successful consultants themselves, run successful businesses, and they support our clients as part of the work that we do. And then we work with a whole host of different contractors and experts in different areas that support our business. And that's really important, because if I tried to do everything myself, even if just Sam and I tried to do everything ourselves, we would have a lot of trouble, because we wouldn't be able to get everything done, or we'd end up working way more hours than we actually want to. And so in my case, that would mean I wouldn't have time to really spend with my wife or daughter. And that's not what I want. I want to be able to spend a lot of time with them. I want to be able to travel with them. I want to be able to spend time, with my parents while they're still around. I want to be able to spend time with other loved ones who I care about, and to do things that are meaningful and important for me. And so having a team and building a support network is really important. Now, I do want to say something about this, which is a lot of consultants who reach out to us don't necessarily want to have a big team. Some do. Some know, yes, I want to have 4 or 5, maybe up to 10 associates or consultants, and I want to build a firm. But others want to keep things very lean. They've come from the corporate world. They've been managing big teams, and they don't want to do that anymore. They want to run very lean and efficient. And I totally get that. So here's the thing. You don't need to build a big team. You certainly don't need to hire a lot of full-time people and have employees that you need to manage. In fact, what I would highly recommend is that you start off just becoming very clear on what areas of your day-to-day, of your activities, of your consulting business are lower value tasks, or are things that you yourself aren't that good at and someone else can help you with. And so start to put those contractors, start to put those people into your team, but they're not full-time employees. They don't need to be right away necessarily. And that way you can test what is really working. You can start to build better systems and processes around that, but you don't need to have the expense or the stress or the worry of adding on a lot of additional resources and infrastructure and cost into your business right away. So that is, I think, a key for many consultants. And it's certainly the approach that we've taken in our own business and in many of the consulting businesses that we've had over the years. I mean, I've been building consulting businesses now for over 18 years, and we've been working directly with consultants for over 10 years. And so I've seen how a lot of these, a lot of different approaches can play out, the positives and negatives of each. And so when someone is looking to build a team, in my observation and experience, the best way to do that is just start by placing some contractors and people into your kind of team so that you can build those systems and processes. And then as it becomes clear that you need someone more full-time, then you're going to be able to do that. But your real focus at the early stages should be on winning business and having conversations with ideal clients. You don't want to get distracted right away by thinking about having to manage a whole bunch of people. All right. So process and systems is the third key to making this all work. I've alluded to this. I've really mentioned process and systems several times already since I started here with you today in this recording, but let me go a little bit deeper and detailed on this. So what we've done in our business is we have a process on how we onboard new clients. We have certain messages that go to them. We have certain actions that need to take place, certain things that get sent to them. All of this is already defined. It's decided upon. It's structured. It's part of our process. We have a system for it. The same for scheduling calls. When someone wants to speak with our company about one of our coaching programs or working together, whatever it might be, we have a way that we manage our calendars, and we make that very efficient for both the client and also for us. But that's really important because then we're not having to do back and forth emails all the time to try and arrive at a time that works. So we're using systems, we're using technology, we're using processes. Another example of this is how we go about doing podcasts and videos. We ran an event not too long ago in Toronto for our elite level clients. These are the consultants that we work with who are, doing anywhere from $500,000 to well over $1 million per year as consultants. And many of them are just, they have either small teams and there's a few even that are solo. So they're running at a very high margin, very profitable, and just seeing a lot of success in their business. But we were sitting down for dinner one night and I was sharing some of this with one of our clients, Rob. And he said to me, Michael, I never knew that. That's so interesting. And so what I'm going to share with you for me I never thought too much about it. It's just something that we've put into place. But it was an eye opener, I think, for him. And then I shared it with other clients at the event, and everyone, I think, appreciated it. So I want to also share that with you, or share this with you, because I think it's going to be of benefit. So here it is. The way that we approach both doing podcasts and videos is that I do just a little bit of the work. And what I mean by that is we ran a podcast for quite some time years ago, and we kind of put it on pause because we had different priorities. And then we decided we wanted to come back to it years later because we saw the benefit of it. And I just really enjoyed doing it. I love interviewing and talking with other people. And most of all, I love being able to bring additional value and to teach and to share for you, right? For the community of consultants here. So in doing that, or in deciding to do that, the one kind of requirement that I had, and I told this to Sam and the rest of the team, was, listen, if we're going to bring the podcast back, I want to just show up. I want to do the interview, and I want to step back. That's it. I don't want to be involved in anything else. I don't want to be involved in scheduling the podcast. I don't want to be involved in editing it, so on and so on. So what we did is we've built a team. We've connected with contractors and different service providers that help us with the podcast. So whether it is going out and finding additional guests, even though we have a lot of people that reach out and want to be on the podcast, we use the services of a company that also helps us to find people to create more predictability and consistency, so that we don't find that we're missing a slot or something like that. But if you yourself are a consultant and you're earning already, well over $300,000 per year, and you would like to come onto the podcast and share some of your experiences of how you built your business, certainly reach out, let us know. We'd be happy to speak with you about that. But that's one thing. The other is editing. So we also use the services of a company that does all of our editing and creates the graphics and actually posts the podcast to our site and puts up the transcript. So all I really need to do is show up. It's already in my calendar, like a booking comes in automatically, and I jump on the podcast like I'm doing right now. I interview the person and simply upload the file. In some cases, I don't even need to do that, and that's it. So that's really efficient. Now with video, it's similar. I go into the video studio and I record typically a whole bunch of videos at once, and then I step back. And all I need to do is send those videos to our editor, and she will take care of those videos, and she will upload them to YouTube, and she will make them available to us for different sharing on social channels and on our website.
While we work with a lot of seasoned and experienced consultants here at Consulting Success, I'm often contacted by new early stage consultants. Invariably, the question I'm asked is, what are the steps I should take to become a successful consultant and grow my consulting business to my first 6 figures per year? Well, I'm excited to announce that we've opened the doors for our Momentum program. This is our most popular program for early stage consultants, and it has helped almost 1,000 consultants to start, run, and grow successful consulting businesses. It gives you the step-by-step plan to help you with your messaging, your fees, and pricing strategies, how to win more proposals, how to go to market more effectively, developing a marketing system to generate leads consistently, and so much more. And right now, until September the 19th, you can sign up for Momentum and get 50% off the regular price by going to consultingsuccess.com/audio. That's consultingsuccess.com/audio, AUDIO. Only 100 spots are available to join Momentum and get 50% off. This deal is only available until September the 19th or until all 100 spots are gone. We won't be opening up new spots in this program for several months, so don't wait. Go to consultingsuccess.com/audio. That's consultingsuccess.com/audio, AUDIO.
And then we have someone that also manages the social part of things. So these are for the majority, these are not full-time people because we don't need them full-time, but they play a really important role in making sure this stuff gets done consistently. And that allows me to be very focused on where I can create the greatest value, which is working directly with our clients, which is writing books, which is creating new content and trainings, which is doing different studies and accumulating best practices that I share with our clients. That is what I want to be focused on. And of course, if I tried to do everything, it would mean less time on all of those things, but it would also mean less time then to spend with my family or traveling. And so that's really important for me. And it's worked out really, really well. So, I think the other thing is that in the systems and processes, there's a few things that are constant in my calendar, but the vast majority. So for example, there's a few things like I have a call at a certain time every single week with some clients. I have, certain calls with other people on our team, certain times of the week that's scheduled and doesn't change. But aside from that, my calendar is quite fluid and open, and it's flexible because I've set it up that way. I've created structure. I've set it up so that I can take a certain number of calls each day, but then I want to leave time each day to work on priorities. And so that's really important for me. Now, the fourth key to all of this and to making this work, and that really allowed me to travel a lot and continue to, and to still, run a successful consulting business, is always focusing on, well, really it's what I would say prioritize. So the heading here would be prioritize. And that's kind of the key. But what I always do is I focus on the biggest priorities and I get them done first. So every single day when I come into the office, or if I'm somewhere on the coast of Spain, it doesn't matter where I am in the world, the first thing that I will do is I will look at, okay, what are the priorities for today? And the priorities are the most valuable and meaningful work. So I want to get very clear on what is the most valuable work and the most meaningful work that I can do, not just today and not just this week, but over the next period of time that's going to help myself and, of course, the company reach the goals that we've decided upon that are meaningful and valuable. And so then I'm able to look at that list consistently. And this is not just like a to-do list of daily stuff. These are like the real key priorities for the quarter, right? Or for the next month or whatever that might be. And I'm looking at that list, and then I'm able to go into it daily and say, okay, this is what I'm going to be working on today. And in many cases, it's already decided in advance, but I have that list and I reference it on a daily basis, and it's always focused on priority work. And what that does is it keeps me from finding myself going down like a little rabbit hole of, well, maybe I'll just search for some new information, or maybe I'll try and learn about some new technology. These are all things that maybe I'd like to do and could be fun, and I could fool myself into thinking that I'm being productive, but the reality is that I wouldn't be. I wouldn't really be making progress because I wouldn't be focusing on the priorities. I would be spending time on things that are lower value and probably, and most likely, are just distractions. I'm just taking a sip of my coffee there. All right. So the other point here that I want to share with you around prioritization is that I have been trying to, and this I think is not just connected to being able to travel, for 5 months out of the year, but it's just important for running the business, is avoiding starting your day with email. I still find myself sometimes doing this, but I've become much more cognizant of it. And I try not to start my day with email, because what I have found is that if I start my day with email, I end up just spending a lot of time kind of going through it and dealing with it. And it's not the best use of my time. So a much better approach is, the first thing I do is I look at my priorities. I have always a pad of paper or an actual book that I write out my to-dos. I look at my calendar online. I organize the day, and I make sure that I'm going to be spending time on priorities. Then in addition to that, closing tabs to your email. You don't need any notifications from your email or to see that you have a new email. Close all that stuff. Turn off Skype, or put Skype to do not disturb, or anything else that could get your attention, your phone as well. And that will help you to get a lot more done. Now, the next point is really around sacrifices. And I think this is important to share with you, because there's so many gurus out there online who just paint a rosy picture and try and position like, oh yeah, everything's just fantastic and terrific all the time. There's no real big challenges. Look how successful I am. And I just I haven't found that to be the case. I think in anything that we do in life, there's always going to be positives, but there's also going to be some negatives. There's going to be some downside. There's going to be some things that maybe aren't rosy and 100% filled with joy, but it's okay as long as the stuff that is filled with joy is the vast majority. But I want to share with you some of the sacrifices that I've had to make in order to run a consulting business while traveling the world for 5 months. And so one is being, flexible, not really flexible. I guess it's doing what I need to do to show up. And so as an example, when we were in Spain for 6 weeks, I would run certain calls because they're set in the calendar, but I would be running them at like 10 p.m. And typically I wouldn't be working at 10 p.m., but I was in Spain, and that was the time zone that made sense in order for me to do this call as I always do it. So that's what I was prepared to do. When I was in Japan, and when I continue to go to Japan, I will be up at 5 a.m. taking calls sometimes because that's what I need to do. And that's what's required. So that means that I may not be able to go out one night with people who I'd love to go out with. It might mean that I can't sleep in, or, I can't go for those drinks or whatever it might be. But these are just like little sacrifices that are part of my life and part of what I've chosen to do, because it's just a small little inconvenience for such a great benefit and return that I get. The other thing too is that, there'll be times where I will be somewhere and it might feel like, yeah, this is a holiday. I'm in Tel Aviv. My family's going to the beach and they're going to be playing, but I'm in the apartment. Like I'm in the tower that we've rented, and I can see the ocean and it's beautiful. And I can just imagine my family playing on the beach, and I could be there with them. But what I have to remember is that I also need to get some stuff done. And so it's these kinds of balances where for some people it might be really hard. And at times for me, it's like, well, maybe I should push this off and do it later. But I also know that in order for me to be able to continue creating the kinds of results that we're seeing for our clients and for ourselves, it requires that I have a good work ethic. But what that does mean as well is that I'll work hard to get stuff done. And then when I'm done, then I'm all good to play. And I can make time to spend with my family and do whatever it is that we want to do. Now, the other area that I want to share here with you is, and I think this is really important, I believe this is really important in order to achieve everything that I've kind of put forth here today and offered as my own experience, is making decisions. And so I believe that in order to achieve real significant growth in your business, in order to achieve the lifestyle that you truly want, to have the freedom, to have the flexibility, to have the ability to travel, to have the ability to spend a lot of time with your kids and loved ones, you have to make decisions. And you have to get very clear on what you want. That's what I did. I got very clear on what I wanted. And that also means that you need to become committed and not just interested. So there's a big difference between people who are committed and people that are interested. If you're interested, it means that you might like read about going somewhere. You might get all excited. You might even plan about the vision that you have for your business. But when it comes down to it, you don't take action, or you take action and it doesn't work out the way that you want, and then you give up right away, or you say that you really want to do something, but you don't actually do it. People that are committed, when they decide they're going to do something, they do it. They make it happen. Doesn't mean it's a straight line all the time. Doesn't mean it's always easy, but they keep going and do whatever they need to do, get whatever help they need to get to achieve what they want. The other thing that I want to share with you that has been important, I think, for me, is thinking and playing big. Because here's the thing, it takes almost the same amount of work to play small as it does big, but yet the results you can get are significantly greater. So that means, your fees, the type of clients you want to have, how much you want to grow, the type of lifestyle that you want to have. Like, you really can create whatever you want as long as you're committed to doing it and committed to taking the action and making the investments and of time, resources, money, all that kind of stuff to get you to where you want to go to. But I've always found that it takes just pretty much the same amount of time to get a smaller result as it does a bigger result. Like the energy, the effort, the fear is almost the same. So why not play a lot bigger? Why not just go for what you want? And then the other point just to make here is like, stay away from complexity, right? There's so much noise and hype in the marketplace. There's so many people making these like wild claims and telling you you can do all these different things. I'm kind of sick of it. And I've found that even for myself, like over the years, what I've done is I've unsubscribed from so many newsletters. I've stopped taking a lot of different information in. I still take information in. I still invest in coaches. I still invest in mentors. I still attend certain events or trainings or whatever it might be, but I'm very selective because I want to move away from all the hype and the complexity and the noise. And instead I want to focus and be very clear on what is really meaningful, what is really going to get me to where I want to go and where we want to go as a company. And by doing that, It's allowed us to say no to a lot of things that look interesting. Like we get approached all the time. I get contacted all the time by people who say, hey, do you want to partner with us on this? Do you want to do this? Do you want to promote our product? This, that, and the other. And I often say no. Not because it's not a good idea, not because I don't believe that we couldn't generate like significant additional revenue from it, but it's not all about revenue. It's not all about just making more money. It's also about having and doing meaningful work and creating memories and spending time with loved ones and living the life that you want. But you can't do all those things if you've created all this complexity and said, yes to everything. So being able to say no by being clear on what you really want, I've found to be a guiding principle. So there you have it. Those are really the principles that have allowed us as a company, and just in me sharing this myself today, to live the life that I want, that allowed my family and I to travel for 5 months out of the last year while still running a consulting business. And I believe that for you, by following these principles, that you can create a highly profitable business that provides you as well with lots of freedom to be with family and loved ones, to travel, to work from anywhere that you want, and ultimately to have the lifestyle and business that is the one that you desire. So I hope that you've found these principles to be helpful. If you have any questions on them, please just reach out, let me know, post into the comments section here on the podcast page. And if you enjoy this, I would love a rating and review if you haven't already. But thank you for your continued support and being part of this community. It means a lot to us. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Consulting Success Podcast. For more episodes and to subscribe, rate, and leave a review, head on over to iTunes. And if you'd like to develop consistent lead flow and a highly profitable consulting business, learn more about our coaching programs at consultingsuccess.com.